of Hammurabi Award. No, there are many written things. There are, for instance, the Press Council in the past has put out guidelines or ethical guidelines on coverage of sensitive communal riot situations. They have put out. Okay. Now, for instance, the Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times have very strong. It doesn't work always, but they have very strong rules. Like even the best laws don't work always. They have very strong rules. Suppose you are a correspondent in the Financial Times. When you join the Financial Times, you make the entire portfolio of your shareholdings known to your editor or your chief reporter. And he sees, okay, you've got a huge holding in Reliance. You're not going to cover Reliance. That's for sure. You're not going to be allowed to cover those areas where you are capable of getting up to insider trading with the knowledge that you have. So those rules do exist. There are codes. There is also code. But and I'll come back to your point in a minute, but I also wanted to tell my friend about the bad old days. 100 years ago, people were writing about the problems of journalism. Do you know that this year, how many of you know that Mark Twain's unedited autobiography is out this year? Do you know what was my favorite Mark Twain quote? I keep it every day I look at it because it's there in my room. It says, yours was not, this is written by the way in 1896. Yours was not in the beginning a criminal nature, but circumstances changed it. At the age of 9, you stole sugar. At the age of 15, you stole horses. At 19, you stole money. And at 25, you committed arson. At 30, hardened by crime, you became an editor. Now, the kind of stuff that's on the radio tapes of the journalists was also referred to long ago in 1960s by Murray Kempton, then editor of the New Republic. He looked at, did you know, one of the things in the radio tapes is a guy takes his order like a waiter and next day his column appears saying all those things. Do you know how Murray Kempton described such editorial writers? This is not in the last few years. The process, as I said, there were bad old days. In the US, the corporatization was taking place much earlier. The complete control was taking. He described editorial writers of this kind in one of the most beautiful lines I've ever read. Kempton said, the function of the editorial writer is to go down into the valley after the battle is over and shoot the wounded. Right? That's what so many of our editorials do. You remember the editorial a few months ago on the anniversary of the Bhopal tragedy? One editorial of a newspaper in this city said the real villains of the Bhopal tragedy are the activist crowd who are still milking the tragedy for what it's worth. It made no condemnation of Union Carbide. That again is the links between the corporate world and the... Till now, do you remember how many wonderful editors supported and staked their lives and reputations in supporting Enron? Which destroyed the economy of Maharashtra, left you with a bloody 9,000 crore hole in the MSCV. This thing link, the worse that grows, the more we are in trouble. Now coming back to your thing, codes exist. You can devise codes. We think there can be codes even on the paid news. The Election Commission is suggesting a code. Incidentally, one organization, as I said, every other institution has done something, only the media have not done it. SEBI has done it. Securities and Exchange Board of India has made it mandatory for media companies writing articles on non-media companies in which they have a share. They have to mention in each and every article that we have a stake in this company. Now, unlike Press Council has no statutory legal powers. SEBI has statutory legal powers. Even then, these newspapers are so powerful, they are defiantly flouting that SEBI mandate. You may have noticed a few days ago, speaking of this subject title of paid news, occasionally there's an editor sitting there who does observe the mandate. So it creates very funny situations. What appears as news on many days, suddenly you acknowledge that it is something to which you have a connection. So for many, many days, you remember there's a column running in the Times of India called Future Cities.
Oh yeah.
Then one day, the Times of India has a tiny note in 4-point size or something like that, the kind that Sherlock Holmes used to read with a magnifying glass. And it says that Bennett Coleman and Co. has a 0.81% stake in Lavasa. Okay. You can calculate what the value of that is on the basis of the assumed 56,000 crores or whatever that is. I don't know. But they were, because of the SEBI mandate, but the next time that article appeared, they did not use it. The whole idea was disclosure. You see, what is one of the problems that the journalists have now in the radio tape? You are forever moralizing, being so self-righteous. That journalism has come back to bite you in the butt. You get a politician on television. What is the first thing you do? If someone is complaining, someone says he stole some money. First question is, are you going to step down? Damn it, somebody just said something about the guy. Are you going to, what? You mean you're not going to resign? Now, that logic comes back to the authors. You see, if you pitch it that high, then the audience then feels betrayed because they want you to live up to those standards. You know, this is not a banana republic. It's just they've gone bananas. Yeah. Point is that microfinance is by no means a glorious transformation of the lives of poor women. Please, you are seeing what has been happening in Andhra Pradesh. What started out as a very legitimate tool, I have supported such initiatives in Pudukkottai. What started out as a very legitimate tool in the control of poor women, who started them in order to bypass the banks, the bureaucracy, the money lenders, is today controlled by the banks, the bureaucracy and the money lenders. When you have micro credits which have become macro empires, like SKS, playing the stock market, then there is, you think that little woman in the village is controlling SKS's operations on the stock exchange. Forget it. The whole purpose of that has been subverted. You restore control to those poor women. Micro, by the very word, micro, defines it as local and micro. When you start making an empire out of it, you completely pervert its ideals, its direction, and its heart.